Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Moonday Messages. Woo! This eclipse energy was crazy. I would love to know. Pause this video right now. Let me know in the comments, how was it for you? What did you experience? How many people did you cut out of your life? How many people did you leave your life? How many things have been shifting around? What things have been shifting around? Did you start a new job? Did you end the job? Did you start a business? Did you have the craziest dreams? Please let me know, because wow, we're technically still in the eclipse energy up until the next full moon, but most of it is over. It will come back in March next year, and then again, I want to say in August or whatever, but for now, we're good. My God. Before we go into this, here are the signs that this message is for you. On the screen, we have 11:11, specifically 11:11, like on the clock, like this. This is what I saw, 11:11. And then we have 222, 444, 333. I saw someone with a flower in their hair. I saw the ocean, and the zodiac signs that came up for me were Pisces, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. Okay. The sun is moving into gate 18, which is the gate of correction, and it is in the spleen center. So it is very much the fight between intuition and instinct and fears, because the spleen is exactly about that: intuition, instinct, fears, and then it's also connected to your immune system. So when you listen more to your fears instead of your intuition and your instinct, you're getting sick, and this is where it is happening in your body. It is happening in your spleen. So this energy is very much about judgment, improvement, and the drive to correct what is perceived as imperfect or out of balance. So what can you course correct? Where can you work harder on something, adjust some things? Where can you look at things in a critical, analytical manner to identify the flaws and to make corrections and just work on the things for the betterment of yourself, for relationships, for a system, for your job, for what you're working on, whatever it is that needs correction. Allow yourself to revisit and readjust things. That is what this week is about, specifically after we have been contemplating of what is going on in our life, like what is falling away, what needs more attention, what needs less attention, because that is not who we are anymore, and we want to change that for ourselves. So it is about balancing perfectionism with the acceptance and understanding of what is. So allow yourself to look at the things where you have been, this could be better, I can work on that, I liked how I did this back in the day, I need to go back to that, or whatever is coming up for you. This energy is about you readjusting relationships, things that you work on, your business, projects, systems in itself. Like maybe you have a Dropbox, but then also you have a Google Drive. Maybe one is enough. Maybe you don't need to pay for both. Maybe it could be small things like that. It's probably some bigger things like that, but maybe also small things like this, okay? What else came up for me while I was channeling is that after this time of the eclipse, of like reevaluating, readjusting, letting the eclipse people out of our life, things out of our life, opportunities that we thought were aligned out of our life, to make space for the actual aligned things that might have already came into your life or they are on the way. Where can you now get out of that mindset of like readjusting and reevaluating and feeling things and going through things and going through all of the things in your mind and actually take action? It is time for you to work on that project, that idea, that business. It is time for action. It is time to take action, feeling through it and contemplating about things. That time is behind us. It is time for you to finally take an action step towards that thing that you have been ruminating about. What is it that came up for you a lot? Where has life helped you to make space, or maybe you made space? How can you fill it now with the thing that you actually want to do? Take some action towards these things. How can you step through the fear is another thing that came up for me, because new things, specifically after the eclipse, the things that are coming through are usually things that we have never done before, or not in that capacity, or not in that way, or it's a different approach. But it will probably coincide with some fears and anxiety around, how the fuck am I going to do this? I don't even know how to do this. How do I get myself to do this? I know, or maybe I know the steps, I know what to do, but like I feel paralyzed because I'm so afraid to take these action steps because I've never done this before, right? So that's the kind of energy. Like, how can you step through the fear? Is it breathwork, meditation, tapping, going on a walk, speaking it through with someone, with a trusted one? I need you to find a way to regulate your nervous system so that you can start taking action steps. Feel the fear and do it anyways. I did this before. I reached out to a couple of retreats and events out here. I created a signature speech. I've been talking about wanting to go more into public speaking a lot with you, or I shared it a lot with you guys. Mosquito, go away. So I finally sat down. I created a signature speech that I want to share, that I want to talk about. I created it and curated it in the way that feels most authentic to me. It has some poetry in it. It has some storytelling in it. It has some parts that I learned by heart. It has some parts that allow me to speak freely, because my North Node is in Pisces, whereas my South Node is in Virgo, just the axis that this eclipse was on, and my Mercury is also in Virgo. So that's the way I communicate, which is very strategic, thought through, more so like, let me write it all out and then try to say it. Ooh, mosquito spray on my mouth. Hold the speech exactly in these words and trying to be perfectionistic with it. And then Pisces, my North Node, is much more about allowing myself to flow, allowing myself to flow with it instead of trying to be perfect in it. So that's what I've been trying to find the balance in. And I decided to do it with poetry. So these are parts where I can anchor myself in when I hold that speech, because that is something that I learned by heart. And I can step into this performance energy how I want to do it. I loved acting when I was younger, so like that gives me the opportunity to step into that part of myself again. I love poetry. I like writing poetry. I like performing poetry. And the part of the storytelling, this is where I allow myself to speak freely, to be more of the Pisces, to allow myself to just like jump into it, whereas also a little bit of acting and a little bit of performing for myself, but not in a way where I have to learn every word by heart, and then afterwards be so hard on myself that when I wasn't able to say it exactly the way that I wrote it down, because that was usually what was happening for me. So I found a beautiful way of fusing the both, and I reached out to a few retreats and I have an answer, and we are just like in the emails writing about this. So I'm super excited for that. So that's what I mean by stepping through the fear and taking action. Okay, like this has been a long time coming. I shared with you, everyone that is here for a longer while, I shared with you that I started performing my poetry for the first time a couple of months ago, maybe like 6-7 months ago, and I vowed to myself to go every month. I did not make that happen. There were a few months where it was like raining or I was sick and I wasn't able to go, but I did it, I think, 4 times in a row. And that got me to the point of not being so afraid anymore to perform my poetry. So now I'm challenging myself even more and have like a 20-minute signature speech that I want to share and maybe incorporate it into a workshop at a retreat as well. So we're just talking about it. We're hopping on a call in the beginning of October to talk about how we can make that happen. So sometimes it's just really about also shooting your shot. If you have a great idea, like, don't be afraid to put it out there and see what happens, okay? So that's what I want you to do this week. Allow yourself to feel the fear and do it anyways. It's time to take action, okay? Let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. Okay, Spirit, what is it that this collective that I called in for this message needs to know right now? What do we need to know? What else is it that we need to know right now, Spirit? Ooh, okay. One more. There we go. This is insane. I mean, I'm not surprised. This is, wow. Okay, the first card that came out is Ride the Wave. Feel through it all. Feel through the fear. Allow yourself to feel it and take action anyways. And then we have sounding board. Finding someone to speak it through with is exactly what I said earlier. Maybe that's what you need to know. And then the next card is inner knowing, which is in human design, the spleen. You like when you have a splenic authority, there's an inner knowing. There's an inner voice that you need to listen to. And that's exactly what I was talking about as well. The spleen, this energy is in the spleen in this week, and you need to get back to your inner knowing, like listen to what steps to take right now. And then we have light codes, so you might as well also want to go outside in the sun to receive some downloads. Then we have community under sounding board, so find someone in your community that you trust. Network with people to get the first steps. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to reach out to create a new community. But also, it being under sounding board, I really want you to trust. This mosquito is going on to my nerves. I want you to trust your people to be able, for them to be able to reflect back to you. And then we have creation. It is time for you to step into creation. It is time for you to make it happen. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have divine masculine, action taking. This entire message is confirming exactly what I have been saying before. Feel through it, find a sounding board, listen to your inner knowing, get some light codes, some downloads. Because you are listening to your inner knowing, you will get the downloads. Find community that you can trust to help you with this, to step into creation. You need to take action. Under the divine masculine, we have bold. You need to be bold. And then we have blueprint. It's time for you to step into your blueprint by taking action, by being bold, by letting yourself be helped by your community, by your people. Find someone to talk it through with, like what can be the next step. And even if you feel like you don't have anybody, ChatGPT, no excuses nowadays. I created that signature speech that I'm now performing soon with ChatGPT, with the help of ChatGPT. I was talking to Chat and saying, like, I want to be able to speak publicly, but I want to do it in my way. How do I make it happen? And then I asked him to ask me questions that get me to the answers of what it is that I really want, because I know my human design and I know my authority is a sacral authority, so I know I need to listen to my gut, so it happens in the moment. Like, I feel a full body yes or a no. There is no gray zone for me. So when Chet asks me questions, I was able to see what my sacral wanted. Is it this or is it that? Is it a full body yes when I think about this, or is it full body yes when I think about that? And with more and more questions, I got more and more clarity about how I want to create this speech. And then when I realized I wanted to incorporate poetry and storytelling with everything else and sharing my wisdom, this is then when I was like, okay, like how can we outline this? And then I was like, I want to start with a poem. Then Chet was like, cool, start with a poem, and then there's a bridge, and then there's storytelling, and then there's another bridge, and maybe there's another poem to close it out. And I was like, I love this. This is amazing. Then I started writing the poetry. And then I started giving myself pointers of how to bridge it from the poetry to the storytelling. And again, I asked ChatGPT, what do you think? It gave me some advice, and back and forth. So I did this for a couple of days until I got to a point of like, I'm actually happy with what I got right now. So now I'm learning the poetry by heart to be able to perform it. I recorded a video for the very first time today to do it. And after like I just like went over it over and over and over again until I learned the poem, the first poem by heart, so that I can then get into it. And then I moved into the storytelling and I recorded myself, and it worked out. It was not perfect, but I was happy with it for the first try. So that's how you take action. You have an idea. If you don't know what action steps to take, get help. Find someone that does. Get professional help. Like, I'm super happy to help you with looking into your human design, into your astrology, to help you figure out what your purpose is, what you want to do, where you want to go, where you want to, like, I found out that it is public speaking for me as well because I had an interest in it. I felt like it was coming up, but then I also looked into my human design and my astrology, and I was like, is that actually part of my purpose? And it is. So if you need help with that first, please reach out. That is an action step. That is you being bold and finally stepping into figuring out what it is that you want to do. If you already have an idea, you already know what to do. Okay, you can also get a psychic reading where we can talk about it as well, or a human design reading to see how it aligns in the best way for you to approach this thing. And then find people that you trust to talk it over with, or talk to ChatGPT. Just do something, please. It is time, okay? Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for following along. I would appreciate your support. I'm showing up every week for you, every day actually, with the messages of the day. The easiest way that is for free for you to support me is sending these videos to your friends, subscribing if you haven't yet, write a comment, even if it's just an emoji, something to show me to show me your support, because that is what is very helpful for me to keep this going. Okay, it's an energetic exchange. I need you to show me that you enjoy this content that I'm creating. I very much am enjoying this because I love this, but it is also taking a lot of my time. So I would appreciate to see you enjoying it as well, because that gives me more fuel to continue doing this. Okay, thank you for being here. I love you. I see you next week.